from my computer real quick. And if you are not comfortable talking, that is perfectly fine. There is a chat feature. I had put it over here. It's a group chat. A lot of times in Zoom, if you've never used Zoom before, you can go and there's different menus. If you hit more, if you don't see the chat feature, it's a lot of times under the more part. I will keep the chat feature up here so that if you have questions, you can ask on the chat or you can just talk. But some people don't like talking on the computers. So please feel free to use the chat function or interrupt me at any time. It's perfectly fine with me. Today's session, I don't know where you all are at with Google Classroom. So today's session is going to be a lot of basics, how to get kids on, how to get assignments in. I know everybody is in a different place with that. So we're going to try and just do the basics. If you go to this website right here, bit.ly, and make sure these are capital letters, this is where I'm going to work out of today. So this is a workflow. You can share this document with anybody you want to, or keep it to yourself, but don't do that, that's mean. Let me get out of this really quick. So again, this is the bit.ly. If you want to go to that, that will pull up the workflow. I'm going to give you just a second to get that going. I am going to pull this up on my other screen. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to work out of Google Classroom and show you all of the things that are in the workflow. Like I said, if you have questions, let me know. I'm going to have to move my chat feature really quick because it disappeared. I'm going to keep the chat over on my side so I can manage it a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you need me to put this back up, I sure can. The first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to log into Google with your K-12 account. If you don't use your K-12 account, you will not be able to access the Google Classroom that I'm going to be working in. Most people, and I'm not going to say everybody because that's not true for everybody, most districts in South Dakota have opted to open up Google for education within their sites. If your district did not, you can easily contact them and ask them to do that for you. But everything I'm going to be working out of is through the K-12 domain. So when I open up a tab to go to Google, this is not my K-12 domain picture, it's my TIGAPS. And so I need to be in my K-12 account. So I'm going to open it in Google with my K-12 account. So now I know that I'm in with my K-12. Now, if you are not logged in with your K-12 account, you need to go to, you can click up here, click sign in, and then you're going to want to add your account through the K-12 system. So when you do that, you can hit add another account, type in your email address. Now, I already have a K-12 account, so it's not going to make me a new one, but you can do that and you sign in with your normal K-12 account and your password. Everything is the same. So once you've done that, you will get probably a little first initial up there. And you can check to make sure you're within your K-12 by just hovering over. I say that and then it's going to disappear. There, it was there. Or if you don't hover, you can click on it and it says I'm in my K-12 account. Don't be appalled by all of my Google accounts. Now that I'm in here, I can go ahead and I'm going to click on the waffle or hamburger or whatever you want to call it and hit Classroom. This is going to take me to my Google Classroom homepage. So I only have 2 Google Classrooms open right now. I made one for my kids. So during this time when I am home with them, I have made a Google Classroom for my children, and then they get on it because they are K-12 students in South Dakota. They get on it and they have assignments for themselves. But this is the classroom that I'm actually going to work out of. So if you are looking at your workflow, which I will also put up here, and I will split my screen so we can see both. All right, so here's my Google Classroom. Here's my workflow. You should have access to both of these. If you don't, let me know, and I will get them for you, or I will, well, you should have access to the workflow, and you should have been able to get into Google Classroom. If you need the workflow, the link is in the chat. Back to here. So first thing you want to do with Google Classroom is you want to be able to create an account. So you're in your K-12 account. Again, just making sure I'm K-12, because if you did this in your personal Google account, the domain would not match your students and you would not be able to get them in. I want to create a class. So I'm going to create. So you can either join a class or you can create a class. It's up to you, whichever one you want to do. At the end of this, I'm going to have you join my class because I'm going to create a Google Classroom resource class, and you will be able to access it and get all of the things that you need to do. So in order to create, I'm going to hit a create class, give it a name. I'm just going to call this test class 1. I'm doing 4 to 5 of these webinars in the next 2 weeks, so I'll have a couple test classes. Once I hit create, it takes just a few minutes because it's not just creating a classroom, it's also creating a Google folder within your Google Drive. It's creating all of the Google aspects that you need for your Google Classroom. So now, if you see up here, there's 4 major tabs. There's your stream, there's your classwork, there's people, and there's grades. So in the stream, this is like your stream of consciousness, or think about Facebook. It's like your Facebook stream. These are things that you can create announcements. You can have students post here. You don't have to, but you can have students post here. If you want to make a class announcement, this is the best way to do it. It will go to all of your students. So page 1 on your workflow was just how to create a class. We did that together. Page 2 is how to edit your classroom theme. So maybe you're not a cooking teacher, or maybe you don't, you want to edit this. So you have choices. You can select a theme. They already have ones made for you. So I'm a math person, so I would do math or science. I taught science for a long time, so I'll click this one. It's going to change it out. And if you want to upload your own photo, you can do that too, whichever you like. On the workflow over here, it says that you can upload your own photos for the Google Classroom header. To find out more information about this, Casey Bell has a Shake Up Learning post. So create Google Classroom custom header. It gives you directions on how to make sure that they're the right size, and so that you can upload a photo that isn't all super stretched or super duper small. Okay, next part. Post an announcement to your class. So right here, I'm on the announcement page. I'm on the stream. And in the stream tab, you click share something with your class. So here, let me go. I clicked right here. It says share with your class. So I'm just going to type welcome to online learning. Have a great week. Now, if you look over here, it says 4. So I can make this same, if I have 5 classes, I can make the same announcement in this class, and I could also send it to my own kids. Not going to, but you do not have to keep doing the same thing over and over again. So if you teach 4 classes and you have 4 Google Classrooms set up, you can make the same announcements. You just have to choose which classes you want it to go to. And then you can also choose, let me see, let me do that. Nope. You only choose one, and I don't have any students. But if I had students in this classroom, I could differentiate the students that see the different announcement. So if Anne-Marie was in my class, then I could, and I didn't want Anne-Marie to see this particular announcement, I could take her out of it. But since I have nobody in my class, it's not going to work that well. So I can add different things to my announcements. I can add a Google Drive document. I can add a folder from Google Drive. I can add links. I can add files, and I can add YouTube videos. You can link videos that are not YouTube, but you'll have to use the link rather than the YouTube. When I go to YouTube, it brings me right into insert video. So I can search for a video right through here. I don't have to open another tab. Or I can automatically put in the YouTube URL. So if I wanted to find a kid president video, I'll just type kid president. It's going to search YouTube for me, and a pep talk, because I think we could all use one right now. And it will automatically insert it. I have some options for announcements. Let me apologize for my dog. Apparently she wants to go outside and she's whining. So if you hear whining in the background, it's my puppy. So you can post it right away. You can schedule it, or you can save it. So maybe you want to come back and edit it a little bit more. So you can save it, you can schedule it, or you can post it. I'm just going to go ahead and post because nobody's in this class right now. It will automatically update on your student's stream. So if your students have it open and they refresh, it'll automatically be there. So you can actually do this within the classroom while you're with them. All of this is in the directions on the workflow on how to do this. So let's move to the classwork tab. Well, first of all, does anybody have any questions on how to do an announcement? I'm going to get to how to add. I'm just going stream by stream, or tab by tab rather. Okay. If I'm going too fast or you need something, please make sure you interrupt me, or remember you can use the chat and we can, you can ask me a question there. So classwork tab, that's the next part on our workflow. I come over here to classwork. Classwork is great. There are lots of options for this, and everything is within the workflow. So you can assign work to your class here. You can create assignments and questions. You can use topics to organize classwork into modules or units, and you can order it the way you want your students to see it. You can edit it beforehand and then hit go. I have a couple days worth for my own kiddos of work for them to do. So because I'm working from home, I need them to also work on their own sometimes. So they get into their Google Classroom, they click on the links that I add. So let's hit create. You have options here. You can create assignment. You can create quiz assignments. You can create a question. Maybe you want them to answer a question. You can upload a material for them to use. And you can reuse an old post. Now I don't have any in here because this is a brand new classroom. So topic. Topic is actually, I want to create a topic, and then, so let's say this would be like my unit. So like I said, I'm a math teacher. If I'm creating a topic, I could go solving equations. And now here is the topic. It's kind of like creating a folder. Now within that topic, I can create an assignment. So my assignment for today is going to be to solve equations on the worksheets in Go Formative. Actually, in Google Docs. I don't have an already made sheet, but I'm just going to pick one. So you can write, that's my title. You can write for everybody, like any directions you want to put here. There's no, you don't have to, I like the bear. There's a bear. Somebody has their camera right to a stuffed bear. He's cute. You can write your directions right here. Now you have add. So if I want to add something from my Google Drive, I could go here. I can add a link. I can add a file. Or again, I can add my YouTube video. Or I can create within Google Classroom. So I can hit create. Do I want to create a form? Do I want to create a drawing? I'm actually going to make this into a form. And I'm going to change this to this. Okay, so it's going to bring me to an untitled form. I just am going to name it math problems. Any content can do this. And now within Google Forms, I'm going to type in some math problems. And I do not want them to have multiple choice for this. So I'm going to change it into a short answer. If you are not familiar with the different Google Docs and things like that, you don't have to use this. You could upload your own worksheets. It doesn't matter. I'll hit required, and then I'm going to title it, and I'm going to hit, actually I'm not going to hit that. So it's titled, it's done. It has created it for me. It says it's untitled, but it's actually not, because when I click on it, guess what's going to pop up? My math problems. And now my students are going to answer these for me. Now I could do a whole nother webinar on Google Forms, but I'm not going to. This is just an example of what you can upload. So here I can say what classes. Again, if you have 5 classes, you want to assign it all to them, go ahead. And then you can also choose if you don't want certain students to have it. If you want to give it points, you can give it points up to 100, or you can call it ungraded. Doesn't matter. And then for a due date, you choose the due date and the time. So if I want this due by next Friday, and time is optional, it usually will go all the way to midnight. And then I'm going to put this under my topic of solving equations. If you have a rubric, you can add a rubric, you can create a rubric. It's up to you. And originality reports. So this is, you can read about what an originality report is. You are looking for authenticity. I will let you read about that, but that's what that's looking for. It's checking for, it's checking the web. It's not like crazy, super, what's the word? It's not completely accurate. It's not like Turnitin where you pay for it and they pretty much search every single thing, but it does do a really good job. So you can click this. You can enable originality reports on 3 assignments per class. I don't want that for this one. Now I'm going to go up here to assign. So I have choices. I can assign it right now. It's going to go to everybody that I asked it to. I can schedule it, I can save it, or I can discard it because maybe I hate it. I'm going to go ahead and assign it. And now if I go over here to classwork, let me go from stream to classwork, I will see that under solving equations, I have an assignment, and your students will see it like this too. People. Let's talk about people. Oh, actually, let's not. Let's go back to classwork. So creating, Holly, post a question. So again, I can go over here, I can hit create, and I can post a question. So maybe I want my students to answer a question while they're at home. So I just type in what my question is. You want short answer because you want, I mean, you could do multiple choice. Maybe you want to get a pulse on something, but you want short answer. And again, you can write instructions, you can go to add, you can create, just like we did before. If you do want that to be graded, you give it how many points you want it, due date. If I want it under the topic of solving equations, I can add my topic. Here you have some choices. Students can reply to each other and students can edit their answer. If you do not want them to go back to edit their answer, do not check this. But if you want them to reply to each other, which a lot of times with questions, it's a discussion stream, you want to keep that. Over here, again, I have the same options. I can do it right now. I can schedule it for a later date, or I can save the draft. I'm going to schedule this one so I can show you what that means. If I want to schedule this to go out on Monday, because I know my students are not going to see it today, I'm going to schedule it to go out on Monday at 8 a.m. Now, I don't have to do anything else with it. You'll notice that it's gray. That's fine. Perfect, no problem. But I don't have to come back and you know, hit send. It will do it for you. So that's how to do a question. The next part on our workflow is to post a material. So again, I'm going to go to create material. You give it a title. So I'm going to say PDF for workflow. I am going to add from my Google Drive this time. So it's going to go, it's going to say things that I've had in my Google Drive. I don't like that one. So I will just put this in. It's pulling from my other Google Drive, so I can't find the ones I want. So simplify expressions worksheet. I'm going to put the PDF in. This is the material. What do I want them to do with it? This is where I type what I want them to do with it. And if I need a topic, again, this is simplifying expressions, solving equations. I'm going to hit post. And there's material that my students might need for later. It's actually a worksheet, so I can put worksheets in. Creating a quiz assignment. Again, you go to create. This time we're going to go to quiz assignment. So you give it the title, give the instructions. If you want to add anything, you can, but if you notice right here, it will automatically come up blank quiz. So I can click on this and it's going to bring me to that Google form. So the Google form is, you can do quizzes. It's going to ask if you want to take a tour on it if you've never been there before. So you have options for questions in Google Forms. You can do multiple choice, you can do drop down, you can do short answer, you can do paragraph. The best way for you to get a grade is to do multiple choice because it gives students one answer, and you can program that answer in. So again, if I did 3 plus 4, I could do 7, 8, 4, and 2. Down here, you'll notice where it says answer key. So if I click this, now I have my choice of where to get the answer key from. So I'm going to click here. This is my correct answer. And how many points do I want this to be? I want this to be 10 points because I'm going to do a 10 question quiz. So now I'm going to also rename this. Anytime you rename something in Google, you just click on the title. All right, perfect. And I'm going to make some of them required. Maybe you might make other ones not required. If you want to add a question, you hit plus. Now, maybe you want your students to answer the question for +8, but you don't want multiple choice. You want to see what they know. I can do short answer, and I can do an answer key, and I can add a correct answer. So my correct answer is 12. If you are a math teacher or someone who teaches anything that it could go a different way, like maybe if you're teaching decimals, it's 12.0. You're going to want to make sure you put in as many answers as you can possibly think of so that it doesn't mark them wrong. So if they do not have these two, I want you to mark all the other answers incorrect, and I want this to be a 10-point question. You can also add answer feedback. So if I know commonly missed questions like make sure your decimal is in the right place. Maybe this was a question that, and it's obviously not, but maybe I asked a question where I know kids get answers that they move the decimal wrong. So I hit save, and if they get it wrong, it'll maybe lead them into the right place. So I hit done. This is good. I'm going to hit required, the answer key. I've got points. I know what my correct answers are. Here, my correct answer was 7. Now you notice how you see what the correct answers are. Your students will not see that when they see the Google form at all. All right, so I'm good. I'm good to go. I'm going to X out of that. If I go back over here, you should see that it's there. I'm going to rename that up here. Usually it does that for you, but it didn't. So they do now have locked mode for Chromebooks. This is new. It says help your students focus better on quizzes with locked mode for Chromebooks. With locked mode, students aren't allowed to open tabs or other applications. If they are using Chromebooks, that's a great thing. But if they're not using Chromebooks, then that's another story. Within forums, if you ever need to change anything, you're more than welcome to. You can make sure you collect their email addresses. So when you do that, make sure you do this if you don't have a question that says name. Although in Google Classroom, it helps because they're already associated with their name, but if you ever do it outside of Google Classroom, their name doesn't pop up and you don't know who your answers came from. So always make sure you collect your email addresses. And do you want them to be able to take it more than once? Let them know. Can they edit after? For presentation, you can shuffle your question order. So maybe students, if they're together, they're not looking at each other's. And then if you want them to submit another response or not. And then over here, this is already set up for us. So we made this a quiz. You can release the grade later, or you can release it immediately, and then you can determine what they can see. Again, I'm good to go. Everything's great. This is all good. I'm gonna do 100 points, set my due date. Again, if you want a rubric, you can get a rubric. I'm not gonna assign a rubric. I'm gonna assign it and call it good to go. Again, Google Forms is a great formative assessment tool, and there's a lot of directions on your workflow to help you, but it is its own webinar within itself. All right, let's get to adding our students. So this gets tricky when you are with your students. A lot of tech coordinators there are ways, I think, to upload all of your students into Google Classroom. Tech coordinators, that's a totally different topic. This is more for teachers, and the tech coordinators probably already know how to do some of that. So if I go over here to people, I am the only teacher. I could easily add a co-teacher. So I have a friend who I co-teach with. Her name is Michelle Paulson. Who's not in here because I'm probably spelling her name wrong. Yep, there she is. Okay, so I have Michelle Paulson. I can invite her to be a co-teacher. If I'm doing this with my SPED class, then I want her to have full access to everything that we're doing. And I want her to be able to also put things in. Not going to put her in there right now though, because she'll wonder what I'm doing. So with students, you have some different options. If you notice, there's a class code right here. If your students are in your classroom with you, they can log in to Google Classroom with their K-12 account, just like we did. So you have them log in with their K-12 email and their K-12 password, same exact way. And then have them go into Google Classroom and hit join class and give them this code. Let's say they're at home because there's a pandemic on a virus. You can invite your students, and all you have to do is hit plus. And I figured this out the other day. So you just start typing their names. This is my son, so I'm going to invite him to my class. So I will invite him, and then there's my daughter. Now, I'm not going to invite either of them. I'm not going to actually hit invite because then they're going to be like, what are you doing, Mom? But you can invite all of your students. Once you have all their names in here, you just hit invite and it will automatically send them an email in their K-12 account and they have to accept it. If they don't know how to access their email yet, that becomes a problem if they're not in the classroom. The best way to get them on is if you are in the classroom with them and you give them this code. You could also send out directions to your parents saying to add them to Google Classroom with their student email. But again, they have to be logged in through the K-12. It does not work platform to platform, which is why I said you have to be in your K-12 account, because if you are in your own Google account, they don't intertwine. But you can add them if they know their emails. All of this works through that. We talked about the co-teachers and then the grades. So I don't have any students. I'm gonna flip over to a Google Classroom that I do have students in really quick. And I will show you what that looks like. So if I go over here to grades, it shows me what my student, or what's my kids, but what are they working on and what are the activities. Now, I'm not grading these things, but I can look here and I can give him a grade. He did great yesterday, so I can give him a 100. Now, Layla is my daughter. She's in first grade. I do not have, I know what her email is. I don't have a password for her. So I couldn't actually get her onto Google Classroom. So I have her logged in as her brother. So I can actually give grades here after I've graded everything. Some districts, for my tech co's out there, Google Classroom can align to Infinite Campus and it would automatically go right into your Infinite Campus. But you got to work with your tech co on that. And it might not be a great time right now, but in the future, it is a great aspect. So this is Google Classroom. This is how it is set up. It's very, very easy. Let's try and get you into a Google Classroom. So if you are logged into your Google Classroom or you're logged into your K-12 account, if you go on the waffle and hit Classroom, and I'm actually going to be creating this today. So this is Google Classroom resources. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot of materials in here, helpful resources, videos, things you could share with your teachers, things you could share with your colleagues, no matter where you're at. So like I said, you will have access as long as you have a K-12 account. If I go here, I can tell you that my code is, oh, I hate when they use eyes. Put that up here. So the code is I7 little o g 5HD. So I'm going to type that in the chat. And you can, sorry, I got to go back. What you will do is once you get into Google Classroom, instead of create a class, you're going to join the class. So hit create or join and hit join. And then you type in the class code right there, I7OG5HD. Now, I can't join my own class, but this is how your students would join it if you were in the classroom too. So I7OG5HD, I would hit join. Now, pretty sure it's valid. And it might be because I'm already in it. Oh, Nicole, you got in, so it must be valid. If you notice, like, so now here I'm looking at Nicole's. If you notice it says invite guardians, you can invite parents. So my son's Google Classroom, his teacher invited me so that I can see what's going on. I have a limited view of what I see. I can only see his stuff. I can't see any other students, which is fine. No problem there. But if you do want to invite your parents of your students, this is a great tool. So again, I'm going to be uploading different materials in here for helpful different resources that you can use during Google Classroom. The class code is right here. I can display it. If you need to see it, it does get a lot bigger. And I think it probably wouldn't let me in because I'm already the teacher in there. What kind of questions do you guys have for me? Please feel free to talk. What age, so Rachel asked, what age range would you recommend Google Classroom? I teach first grade. Okay, so I mentioned I had a first grade daughter, right? I had her yesterday on the Google Classroom, and I'm gonna go back to my kiddos' Google Classroom and just kind of show you, and this, you guys, I'm trying to work from home and do this teaching thing with my kids, and this homeschool teaching is not for me. So if I go here, I'm going to show you what I assigned for my daughter. I think with first grade, you can do this very limited, so I know with first graders, with little guys, getting them to get on a link is like impossible. Like you don't want them trying to type in links. So what I did for Layla is, where is this? I don't want student work instructions. Okay, so yesterday, or this is for today, sorry. She's gonna be on Scholastic today. So I put the Scholastic site right here so that she can click on this link right away, and it's gonna take her to TrueFlix. Layla's? Okay. I thought I linked Bookflix, but apparently I linked TrueFlix. And so she's going to pick something that she wants to read today. So it really helps with that link part of it, getting those types of things. Now, Layla can read this stuff. Like, she's a first grader. She can read, go to Scholastic, go on Prodigy. She's all into Tinker right now. Like, she's trying to learn how to code. So she can go to any of these. I would definitely recommend for first grade or even second, trying to get them on learning how to use it. It's very clickable, and then pushing out links you want them, especially if you don't use iPads. I know a lot of kindergarten, first grade classrooms use iPads because it's easy just to touch, right? But this also makes it easy if you don't have iPads. Anne-Marie asked, can I close submissions after so long, or can I lock submissions so students cannot submit or resubmit whenever they want? Yes, you sure can. So you can Go wrong class. Wrong person. This is what happens when you have too many. Go in here. Go to classwork. Once you have, when you want to close it, I can't remember how to do this. Because I don't think I had them turn anything in for this, I can't lock anything. I am going to write that down. And if you join that Google Classroom, I will get directions on how to lock and not resubmit. I know you can do it. I just, off the top of my head, I need a few minutes to work that out. So join the Google Classroom and I will get that put in there today, how to close submissions and lock submissions so students cannot submit and resubmit. I will make sure that that gets put in there. I know there's a way. I just can't remember it. Okay, can I close, will class code work offsite for students? Yes, as long as they are logged in to their K-12 account. They have to be logged into the Google. They have to be logged in to Google through their K-12 account. The class code will not work if they are logged in through anything else other than K-12. I have my son's Google Classroom on my phone, so I can look to see what he does. This is through his school. Like, his teacher has music, science, social studies, and something else under Google Classroom, and he can do everything. You only have to enter in that class code one time, as long as they are in that K-12 account. If they're not in the K-12 account, it just won't work. What other questions do you have? Anne-Marie, I apologize about the closing submissions. I just have to go look it up and figure out how to do it. But I'll get that put in there, I promise. Do you need to be online to do this? So you do need to be online to set it up. You need to be online to access Google Classroom. You can do it on a phone. You can work offline on Google Docs, and then it will upload things once you go online, but you do have to be online to do all of this. Yes. Sure, no problem. Any other questions, things that'll be helpful? There's probably way more about this that you could know, but right now we're just trying to get things out there and make sure that you guys can get started with it. Ty has a class, like a full class online on how to do Google Classroom, which you guys are more than welcome to take for free, but this was a good overview. Please make sure this workflow helps a lot of people, and it's great to be able to share with your colleagues. Any other questions? All right, so I will get this Google Classroom resources going today. It's part of my work from home project for the day. I will make sure that I start putting some resources. I'm going to put a lot of videos in here so that you guys can do that. I have some more documents that will be helpful, so I'll get those uploaded and you'll see things. And I'm not going to put them in like the stream, but you will see some notifications. Awesome. Well, you guys have a great day and we'll get through this together. I promise. Please feel free to email me if you need anything.